Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to day 18 of MIAMAFV 2.
Big Dick is back in town.
Bring me the bathroom. Because I'm an idiot.
Today I thought we'd do something quite different. Quite different. Because I thought it would be interesting to discuss business sense and finances. Because as someone who's got something of a burgeoning small business, technically a few of them, I am eternally fascinated by what the business models of various other, I don't know, I guess entrepreneurs is one way to put it, what the other people do to manage their finances, what their income streams are, the way that they balance their budget, who takes care of like managing the paperwork and the finances behind the scenes and all that stuff. And I thought, that might be an interesting thing to get into a little bit when it comes to Best Guy Ever stuff, and more importantly, PCP stuff, which is the far more complex business thing that I'm involved with, where I do much more of an administrator type role, because I guess my official title in the PCP, I'm not the leader. There is no leader in the PCP, but I am the administrator who takes care of all the paperwork and the tax info and the finances and stuff. And also, I wanted to show off something that I have made. So this is a dual finance/programming video here. So let's take a look at something that I've prepared, which is a template version of the PCP pay document that I make every month. And so, as you know, I'm on the Procrastinators podcast. It's a podcast I've been doing with my friends for years. And every single month, I put together a spreadsheet just like this. Spreadsheets should be your best friend in life, ladies and gentlemen. Spreadsheets are everything that you need in order to be a successful human being. I am convinced of this. And this particular one is structured thusly. Basically, its main function is week to week, month to month. PCP episodes are done in a, what's the word? Like a pick and choose what you want to be involved with if you're in the PCP, which we've got, I think, 9 members now with Oblivion Fall, our new editor. Congrats, fam. And basically every single week, no one is forced to show up for anything ever under any circumstances. The way the PCP works is that whoever wants to show up is welcome to. And we've got no limits anymore. We used to have them. We've done away with that. And if you show up and you are there for the full episode, you get an equal share of the pay that the episode earns, because we have a Patreon and a bunch of other stuff gets pulled into monthly earnings. Now, if you have to leave early or if you join late or something, then you'll get a certain penalty off the total earnings that you've made for that episode. And if you miss like most of the episode or something, then you'll get like a major penalty. As opposed to the full share. And basically what I've done is I've prepared these documents in this format, and I've prepared a Python code-based payment calculator in which I plug all this information into it to generate exactly how much money every person gets for that month's earnings. So I thought it would be interesting to step through it, show you an example of how it's done with this bogus example that I've made here, and just show you what's up. And kind of extol the virtues of organization and I guess programming, because this was making the PCP pay calculator was a project that I just decided to do to make my own life easier, and much easier it has become. So first of all, let's talk about this document here. So take a look. This is a fictional series of episodes in a fictional month in the future. This is May 2020. I just made this up. I just concluded the payment for April of 2019 and whatever. So I made this totally fictional, totally not tied to reality at all version, where every single financial piece of information is 100% made up. They're sort of close to real numbers, but I don't know, some are way higher than they should be, some are way lower. It's all bullshit. None of this is accurate whatsoever, but it'll serve for the example of showing how the numbers all go together. So take a look at this. First things first. We release PCP episodes on Fridays of every single week, and then there's one bonus episode per month. And sometimes, well, actually, the Drawcast used to come out and used to be charged in the same way. But Munchie, who's the Drawcast chancellor, he's in charge of Drawcast stuff, he just decided to make his own channel with it and go do his own stuff. In the same way that me and Gib years ago did with the Pod D-Cast. Used to be on the PCP, now we got our own channel, everybody's happy, it's its own thing. So here we've got 5 main episodes. In this fictional month, the episodes released on this day, that's when the episodes are charged on Patreon, and that's what matters, because you have to make sure when you run a per release payment plan on Patreon like the PCP does, as opposed to one monthly payment, you need to make sure it gets charged that month and you don't miss it, because then you've lost a whole bunch of money and it's a big problem. So that's my job as the administrator, to make sure that gets done. So it's important when the dates come out for the PCP specifically. So here we've just got 5 random episodes I made up. We've got a bonus episode here. Only the main episodes get charged for on Patreon, and the bonus episodes they're free only to the $5 and up patrons on Patreon. They're not really free. That's what people are paying for, who are paying the $5 thing, in addition to just supporting us. But you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't get charged on the Patreon, so no need to include it there. Here we have the participants. Now, I'm pretty much on every episode, so I just fill this out. And for everybody else, I put a random spattering. And you'll notice these big purple M's. These are major penalties. So maybe on this day, on this fake date on the Street Justice episode, I was, jacking off for 2/3 of the episode, and I joined for the last third, so I get a major penalty. Over in this episode, World Conquest, Ben showed up a few minutes late, so he gets the minor penalty. And as you can see, I've got these color-coded things over here, so it's easy to tell at a glance what is what, and the normal green P just means present. So there you go. And every episode just has either the editor specifically labeled, because editors get a cut off the top. So, okay, editors for each episode. These are the participants. That's all we need. And down here, again, I just made up some shit for an RFCK stream they did on the PCP or something. Gib edited it, as in he's the one who streamed it. Munchie, Gib, Ben, and I were all present, and it made, I think I said $10, $50, and it made $50 in like income in terms of donations. So okay, so all this money has to be accounted for, and I make sure every single cent is accounted for and fairly distributed. There's a little places where there's some wiggle room where you have to make like a call, like where should this 1 cent go? It's splitting a cent, or things like that. So some of this comes down to just what seems fair, but I insist that every single cent go where it needs to be, unless it's in like a gray area where I just figure it out. Okay, but here we go. So now that that's all sorted, the next thing to do is, Adsense. So here's the thing about Adsense. The way that Adsense works, you can only have an Adsense account, which is how you make money through Google Ads on your YouTube page. It all goes into an Adsense account. You can only have one of those per person, and I think per social security number, or certainly per name. You can only have one per person. And all the PCP and BGE related things are in my name. So basically what this means is BestGuyEver, PCP, Podcast, and technically TBAP, because that's still technically a live channel. We just posted the resurrection, like a month or two ago. All that money gets deposited to my accounts because it is in my name. It's all using my AdSense account. But the thing is, though, like, that's not all my money to keep. I need to make sure that that money goes to the people who have actually earned it, because it's not really my money. So I'm just like a way station for the PCP money, the podcast money that goes to Gib, and TBAP stuff for Ben. So this section of the document here, this is what I've created. It's a little sloppy, but this is for distributing AdSense money appropriately. So the way I do it is I count here. This value here is how much money did I just get put into the account? Like, what lump sum was just put there? And again, these numbers are literally made up. They have no relevance to reality. So just, this isn't accurate. This isn't reflecting how much any of us actually earn. But I just put like $1,010 for like how much total AdSense was earned for this particular month. Now down here is a little weird. For some reason, my AdSense money, like the Podcast money specifically, comes in as a separate account. And I don't know why this is, but it's what happens. So this $100 that we made this month for the Podcast, PC, and it's weird because it's like labeled as like the PCP account. I won't get into it, but for some reason I get like 2 separate streams, and seemingly one is just the Podcast income. So whatever, go figure. And so we don't lump that into like PCP earnings. That's like a separate account, so we can just leave that one aside. And you can see it's the Podcast. I've got it labeled in red here because it's not lumped in. But so the total, it's still $1,010 for this. So that's how much like just got put into my account. Boom. Now I have to figure out where that money actually belongs. So this section right here is where, if you have a YouTube page, the analytics page, which it tells you like how many views you've got per month, how much like viewer retention you have, male, female distribution, like that kind of stuff. There's a section where you can just tell how much money you've made in that month. And maybe there's other ways to do this. But the easiest way that I found to do this is I go through every analytics page of every single channel that's associated with these AdSense accounts, and I get the values from that and I put it into here. So using analytics, I determined that the PCP earned, $450 in this month. Again, made up numbers, just saying. The Heckles for Shekels money, it is included in this and needs to be dealt with like further on the document. We'll get to it. Because it's not like a lump sum amount. The Heckles for Shekels stream money goes to the people who streamed. It's not part of the lump sum of earnings that goes over here. But we'll say, so $450 are PCP earnings. Heckles for Shekels, that just earned $50 on that one stream day in this fictional day, which is reflected over here. The podcast, right, $100. So Best Guy Ever stuff in this case earned, we said $400 here, made up. BGE live streams, $50, definitely made up, does not earn that much. And Bestie Boy, $50, again, made up, doesn't make anywhere near that. And so add those together, the BGB earnings is $500, but you'll notice this is 502. Now, why is that? And why is the PCP 452? And of course, right, and down here we got TBAP, because TBAP still makes a couple of pennies here and there, and so I just rounded up to $5. So there you go. So the thing is, now that I've added up the AdSense money that's reflected on the analytics page, when sometimes, I noticed this early on, when you add up all that earnings, sometimes you'll get, as in this case, $1,005. It does not exactly equal how much money was sent to me in the accounts. And so now there's a discrepancy and has to be figured out. Now, I'll just let you know, a lot of the times these match up perfectly and there's no need to do anything. And that is such a satisfying feeling that I know that the math is correct. But sometimes there are discrepancies that I cannot explain no matter what I do and try to look into different accounts. So you have to figure out what to do with that extra money you've earned. And sometimes there's negative money that you have to, whatever, you have to figure out what to do with. So in this case, I was sent $5 more than the total AdSense says where it should go. So I need to figure out what to do with that. Now here's where I just kind of eyeball things a little bit, because I don't think that this thing needs to be overly precise, because it's generally like less than $1 or like a few cents. In this case, it's $5. So I just kind of rounded it off because the numbers are approximately fair here, I feel. And so I just sent $2 to that $5 right over here. You follow the 5, it gets split up into this column here. $2 to PCB, $2 to BGE, and $1 to the podcast. Slightly generous to the podcast, but again, this is where I just have to make like a determination. I could theoretically calculate this based on percentages of income, but even that isn't necessarily fair. So like, this is where there's a gray area. So I try to be fair and just keep it to approximately what seems fair. Okay, but now that we've done that, now we can determine, okay, BGE made $502 worth of AdSense for this month. Great, I can put that into my personal spreadsheet for my finances and go do what I need to do with that. For TBAP stuff, it made $5 flat. Okay, great, I can worry about that later. And for the PCP, $452 of AdSense earnings for the month. Great, so now we have that number and we can port that over to here, to the AdSense earnings for the PCP. And again, I just rounded off Patreon earnings, $2,000, whatever, not an accurate number, but whatever. And so just for this month, Patreon sent us $2,000. And merch earnings, we make some money from merch every month. Sometimes we don't. Generally speaking, we make at least a little bit. We just did the Teespring stuff, so the sales have been up a bit. So I just, even this is probably generous, but I rounded up to like 105 because I said $100 from Teespring and then $5 from Redbubble. Make a couple cents with that usually. Anyway, so you add all that up. That's everything. We got merch, AdSense, and Patreon. Add it all up. Boom. And I've got the spreadsheet set up. So check this out. If I just change this to like $5, you'll see that's get changed right there. What I've done is I've created the spreadsheet so it automatically, and look down here. See, it changes things. It automatically calculates a bunch of stuff that we need. So once I put in all this information here, now the rest of the spreadsheet begins to propagate itself. And so down here, the admin fee that I get paid is 4% off the net earnings of the PCP total for the month, because I touch everything as I'm making sure that money goes to the right places. And, sometimes I do all like the tweeting for the PCP. I do like the final checks on releases. So point is I get a 44% cut of the total net gross for my administrator work. That's what it is. Incidentally, on the subject of this and everything else, the PCP is set up from the ground up to be super collaborative. Anytime anyone has an issue, we talk about it. We have weekly meetings on Saturdays where anyone who has an issue can show up and discuss it. So, I mean, I very much believe, as the administrator, the PCP, I believe so heavily in making sure that anyone's issues are addressed so far up road so that there's no chance that anything becomes a problem later. And I believe in being super transparent. I always post all these documents to everybody every month. And if somebody had a problem with me earning 4%, then let me know and we will discuss it immediately and find an amicable solution or whatever. And if editors feel they weren't making enough, again, we can talk about it anytime when, I don't know, whatever. Fucking, if I felt that I wasn't earning enough, I would bring it up to the group, have a discussion, we'd form a consensus, and we'd do what needs to be done. And that's how it's always been. And I think it should always be that way. And I think if your business isn't running that way, or if you're working with people and you're not addressing concerns proactively, I think you're already fucking up and setting yourself up for failure. So whatever, that's how it is. So anyway, so Tom gets a fee for doing the iTunes stuff. What is this? Show notes fee, 2%. Who gets that? Show notes fee. Oh, right. The show notes fee is a specific thing that we did to actually bump up editor pay a little bit, because doing the show notes was kind of a pain and nobody wanted to do it, and it used to not be a requirement. But now we've added so that you actually get a little bit extra money if you're the editor and you do the show notes. It's an editor responsibility now, but you get a little extra pay for it, so that's cool. So we add up the total internal fees, which is all that stuff with the iTunes and the show notes. Gib used to do bonus previews, but whatever, we stopped doing that for a while. We pay $1.99 every month to Google Drive for the larger capacity in Google Drive to host all the MP3s of the episodes. So we pay $1.99 every month for that. So that's a fee. And so with all the fees added up, boom, we've got our total distributed income. And that's the important number. That's the number that will be used to determine how much every person will make based on their episode appearances. That's the amount that will be split up based on how much people showed up. After all the fees are taken care of, then we get to, okay, you were here for the episode, this is how much you make. And so this is going to take a little bit of doing, but let's go into the actual PCP pay calculator. And this is kind of what I want to show you people more. Let me just show you the code real quick, because okay, here is version 7 of the PCP pay calculator. Was just making some changes today, some small things. It is a Python code program that I use to easily determine how much everybody needs to be paid. It's a pay calculator. We've got everybody added in here who's relevant. Including Oblivion, who has not been paid yet because he started with the first episode in May, I think, but he'll be getting paid starting next month. And yeah, I mean, that's all there is to it. There's a little bat file so it can run it easily. It runs these Python files. We've got a couple of classes here and whatnot. And there's a README for notes. What's in that? Just like update notes and whatnot. Oblivion Fall, yeah, added. So there you go. This is what it is. This is how the program works. In terms of how the code is structured, I don't think I'm going to go into too much detail. Basically, what it does is it breaks down, it prompts you with a series of questions as to how much was earned that month, and asks you who was on what episode. It's a variable length thing. It loops a number of times where you get to prompt, do I want to add an extra episode? Yes, no. You can add more or you can cut it off. You can add the penalties as you go through the episodes. So let's step through a little bit and you will see what's going on with it. And so let's already run it. So as you can see, looking good. Got my flare going. It's welcome to Nate's Genius fucking PCP calculator, my nibbas. Welcome to the show. Let's get rolling with it. So this is going to be a little bit clusterfucky. I do a lot of copying and pasting between this, so please forgive me. But let's minimize this a little bit. So, okay, so the first thing that the calculator asks you is basically how much was earned. It asks you these questions right here. So let's plug that in. $2,000 total Patreon earnings. We made $2,000 with Patreon. Fake numbers. You know how it is. Total AdSense earnings for the month. It was, gotta calculate, gotta grab this. Boom, there you go. $452 AdSense in this month. And the total, Merch. Oh, I put this as miscellaneous earnings, but really, it's for every fee that isn't Patreon or AdSense, but I just use it as the merch one basically because it's all that's been relevant so far. So boom, there you go. And I do a lot of safety checks as I go through. So this Python part, it independently adds up the amounts, and we get 2557. Boom, added from these. And does that match our amount here? Indeed, it does. So we are looking good over here. Okay, so with that done, total external fees for the month. Now the only external fee, no, we put all the fees here. We take this amount here. Come on, copy, please. Forgive me if this is small, but I can technically increase the size, but there'll be it'll hurt like printing ability in the command window, so you got to look real close. Just take my word for it. Okay, so here we go. So we plugged in our total fees, and okay, it doesn't prompt. I wish I was just thinking I should make it so that it prompts the total distributed income, so we verify that the amount's been entered correctly. But that's okay. We're not going to do that now. So the Nate PCP admin is of course Nate, so we add that, and boom, we're right into episode numbers. So let me shrink this a little bit. Okay, so we are going to now go through each of these episodes. And hopefully it works. I don't think I've tested one with Oblivion yet, but hopefully it will work correctly with him. So, okay, episode number for the list. This is episode 200, I said. And description, we'll call it dab. It's dabbing culture. Okay, good. Oblivion is in there. Now, see, the way I made the code, I just want to say, is really good because all I had to do was when I wanted to add Oblivion, as opposed to hard coding shit and adding him like every fucking place in here, I simply had to add Oblivion to the PCP member list at the beginning of this. And once he's there, he gets propagated down into so many things below this because I programmed this in a reasonably intelligent way. But again, we'll see if it actually works, though I think it will. Okay, so state the editor name. So with this, it was Oblivion. So let's add him here. Oblivion. Oh, no, I fucked up. And it is not, in fact, there. Shit. Okay, there we go. See, now I've got it fixed. So Oblivion, I just went and fixed the code. Now he is a viable editor. I just had to fix like some error checking I do to make sure that you ask for the right one. I should have been smarter about it and just used it. So that's some better logic that I need to introduce later. But for now, we'll keep going. So, okay, so based on this, is there an editor penalty? So right away, we've got editor penalties where like if the editor was late or if they made some mistake, it really all comes down to if the episode was late. Or I guess theoretically, if we just say like, okay, there's a problem with the episode, fuck it, we'll just give a minor penalty because you fucked something up. Because we really try to incentivize getting shit done smart and on time. You'll always get paid, but you just might get a penalty if you fuck something up, which doesn't happen often, but sometimes it will with like late episodes. Anyway, of course, Oblivion's a genius, so no penalty whatsoever. Name of participant for PCP episode 1. Okay, so now we're into the shit. So right away here, I highlight this so I can clearly see which bar I'm dealing with, and boom, I just type it out. We got to add these guys in, no penalties whatsoever, so we just add their names. Nate, Ben, Digi, Gib, Mage, Tom, Munchie, and done. So I always check, so Nate, Ben, Digi, Gib, Mage, Tom, Munchie. Okay, done, good. Any member penalties to assign? As we can see, the answer is no penalties, no. Any more episodes? And yes, we certainly will. Yes. Okay, so now episode 2. And see if we had said no, it would just kick us out and give us results right then and there. Okay, episode 2 is this one here. 201, World Conquest. We'll call it World. State editor name is Tom in this case. Okay, great. No editor penalty. And okay, now we do see that there is a penalty here. That is Ben with the minor penalty. So let's put that in here. Name of participant for episode 2, Nate. And we just type Ben for now. Jesse, Gib, Tom, Munchie. Nate, Ben, Jesse, Gib, Tom, Munchie. Nate, Ben, Jesse, Gib. Yeah, correct. Okay, so done. And now it's going to say any member penalties. Yes, indeed, there was a member penalty. Name of participants to assign a penalty to. Now, I get to stay as many as I want. I say there's a penalty for this, this, this. If a bunch of people showed up late. In this case, it's just Ben. So we put Ben. And the type of penalty is a minor. That's like low M, blue, minor penalty. So we put minor. And now we can add more, or we can say done. I'm going to say done. So that's a 33% pay cut for being late, which gets redistributed to everybody else for the episode. So that's how it is. And let's skip ahead. You get the gist by now. Okay, now here's one in episode 203. Let's real quick. So we're adding penalties now for Nate and Gib because we both fucked up on this episode. So any member penalties? Yes. We're going to say name of participant. We got Nate here with a major, and we got Gib here with a minor, and done. And more episodes? Yes. Okay, there you go. All set. Okay, we're at the end. I just put in the last one. We are going to put a big no for adding the final thing, and here's why we need the text to be reasonably small. To look at this shit, and there we go. Okay, so now what we have here is the printed out final result. So let's just check our numbers before we do anything to make sure I didn't make any mistake. So we've got the total income was 2557, and our total net income is 2557 down there, and everything looks absolutely perfect. Okay, so those numbers match up. Now, what we've got here is we break up all the total earnings by episode. So every episode here, it just split up evenly between all episodes. Everybody gets a cut of whatever episode they were on and contributed to. So every episode here made, a little under $400 in this particular example, and it's broken down by episode. Here's the admin fee that gets distributed to me, for my admin work and whatnot. But everything else is just the episode earnings. And so you've got over here is the specific editor income you've got. You've got Oblivion over here with his 131.28 in this example for editing like 3 episodes or whatever it was in this case. And down here, we've just got everybody's pay amount. So let's just copy these numbers exactly as they are into the document and keep going. By the way, remember that $50 for that one stream that was done? That has to be calculated separately. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And there it is right there. Okay, so now what we have, ladies and gentlemen, is our complete income all stuck the fuck in there. And if I'm correct, it should add up to our total amount with the sole exception of the stream there. So this amount right here should be our total earnings. 2557 matches perfectly 2557 with the extra $50 for the stream. Flawless. Okay, so down here I have this set up so it automatically propagates these values down into this one down here. And now what we've got left is the TBAP and the podcast. So TBAP made $5, so I'm gonna just say 250 for both me and Ben. And for the podcast, let's see, that earned about $100 here. We'll call it $200, and we'll just split the difference, and we'll just say it's 100 each. It's a little more complicated than that because we do have admin fees, we have editor fees, and that kind of stuff. But for the sake of this argument, rather than going through a whole other calculation, we'll just do that. So now what we have is the perfectly finalized, calculated final results of how much every PCP member will be paid. This is it. This is the exact amount that will be sent. For our international guys, there's some fees associated with how they get paid, unfortunately. But other than that, this is exactly how much everybody is going to be sent. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the complete start to finish way that I pay every single person. The only thing I didn't go into detail was kind of how I get these amount, but I just looked through every episode and add them, and it's a bit of a pain, but it's what it is. So you gotta check all episodes, calculate all AdSense amounts, run the PCP pay calculator to get these amounts, do all the outside stuff for the stream and then for podcast, TBAP, etc. And then I know, technically this stuff isn't all PCP related, but this is because this is all PCP affiliated stuff. I just do all the sending in here because it all, it comes into my accounts and I got to send it out. So there you go. I will include the code, if you're interested, in the description for any people who like Python or want to give it a try. You'll have to install Python. It's not too complicated or anything, but that's what it is, everybody. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found this interesting. Oh, and one final note. So the amount of money that I get every month, I mean, in this case, it was $640, whatever. Just for everybody out there who wants a little financial advice, here's the thing I want to say about that. What I do every single month is I've got my main job income. I put it in a spreadsheet. I've got my, okay, no, that part I don't because that already gets tax removed. For my online income, which I count as one business, all my online stuff, because I'm already paying taxes on my main job income, I put it all in a spreadsheet. It's all in a spreadsheet all together. And what I do is I add PCP Pay, Podcast, TBAP, BGE stuff, and everything else I do, any particular commissions or, working with Digi on a show or something like that, all that money, I take it, I add it into one spreadsheet, and you know what I do? I cut 25% of it. Maybe I should even do more, but I take 25% of that earning and I say, this is not my money. This is the government's money. I don't like taxes, but this is reality and I accept reality. I cut 25% of that total income and I move it to a savings account that I have where I know all the money in this savings account is not my money. It belongs to the government and I cannot touch it. Then when tax season rolls around, I've already put, and I do this every month. So when tax season is here, every month I've put aside 25% of all income, and all my main job earning stuff is already taxed, so I don't need to worry about it. I put it aside so I have zero worries about my finances. And I just put the 75% into my checking account, and that's what I actually spend money with. And I highly recommend all of you do the same. Save even more, frankly. I mean, look, I save the vast majority of my money, but I'm just saying. Anyway, that's it for today, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode of MIAMAFV 2. Hope it was informative. Be responsible with your finances, make spreadsheets, and be a hero. See you tomorrow. Bye!